Hello students, welcome back with the second session of first chapter, class 11. We are doing the chapter called as Living World. Okay, so in the previous class we have discussed about what exactly living thing, what are the characteristics of living thing. We have also identified the clear difference between what is living and what is non-living thing. I told you in the previous session that living things are made up of carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, nitrogen and some of the inorganic compounds, and at the same time non-living things are also made up of carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, nitrogen and some of the inorganic compounds. Now here the point comes that how then these two things are different. What makes living thing a complete separate entity than that of non-living? For that we have discussed some of the points, like living things shows some of the characteristics. Those characteristics were growth and development, then there is a respiration, movement and irritability, that is self-consciousness. Also we have discussed about, they show the conditions called as reproduction. So all these conditions when comes together to one particular thing, that becomes a living thing, or we call it as organisms. Okay, now what is there in today's session? In today's session, this is, I think I have told you about this, that this chapter is for the living world will be coming for 3 marks. That is, in the board exam you may expect a question which will be appearing for 3 marks. Okay. Now, when we see about the diversity in the living world. Okay. Now, when we talk about the living things, we see different type of living objects in and around us, right? We see the different type of animals, we see different type of plants. We also observe the presence of the microorganisms which we cannot see by our naked eyes. Their presence is understood when we get infected or when we see some spoiling of the food or something like that. So in those cases we see that there is one more category of organisms are there. They are, though they are not visible through our naked eyes, but they are present on the environment. So now that means what is coming up all together, sum together, that this world is made up of different varieties of living organisms, and this makes the world biodiverse one. This is called as biodiversity. So the world, what I am telling is, the world is made up of different types of organisms, and that is called as biodiversity. Why the term bio? Biological, that means the organisms are many in numbers, they are of different types. Okay, let us take this, just the example of insects. Can you tell me the name of 10 insects at a stretch? Yes, you can, right? Like there are so many. So this world is made up of the diverse type of biological things, that is the living things. Okay, so the term biodiversity was first time told by the scientist called as Walter G. Rose. The scientist who termed this term, that is biodiversity, is Walter G. Rose, and this actually means biological diversity. What does it mean? It means biological diversity. How many types of different organisms are present on the earth, that is called as biological diversity. So it is the collection of variety of all forms of life. What is biodiversity? Biodiversity is collection of all the forms of life. This will include all the things. This will include the plants, which is a dominant one on the earth's surface. This will also include the animals, and this will also include the microorganisms. Okay, those organisms which we cannot see through our naked eyes. So what exactly biodiversity is a term which means that collection of all the variety of life forms. Now, as I told you, it is a huge one. Biodiversity, if I talk about, there are so many things which is not yet discovered also. I'll give you an exact number on this also. It is also referred as, the term biodiversity can also be referred as the sum total of species richness. It is called as altogether the species richness. Richness means how many more, like how the numbers, the big huge numbers, that is called as species richness. Okay, so the term biodiversity coined by Walter G. Rose, you have to remember this name of the scientist, sometime in competitive exams, they may ask. So just let us keep it in mind that Walter G. Rose is the scientist who coined the term biodiversity, and biodiversity is defined as the collection of variety of all forms of life, and it is also called as the sum total of species richness. It is made up of different plants, animals, funguses, microorganisms, which is found all over the world. As I told you, what are these things biodiversity is made up of? It is made up of plants, animals, funguses, and all the microorganisms which is found on the earth or on the world. Okay, so here I have tried to show you that few of them, hand counted some of the plants and animals over here. Like we have the food crops, cash crop, intercropping is that trees are there, kitchen crops are there. Then we humans are balancing between both taking the help of plants as well as we are coming under animal category. Then we have the different type of farm animals and birds and the insects. All these combines together forms the biodiversity. Okay, so it comprises of different plants and animals, the funguses and the microorganisms on the earth's surface. Okay, let us see what is the next one. Each different kind of plant, animal or microorganism represent one species. Very, very important term. You have to understand it very carefully. What is a species? What is a species? It is individual one, each different kind is considered as one species. Just for example, if I ask you to name some of the animals, what you will be saying? Just let us do some guesses. So I'll say dog, I'll say cat, I may say cow, I may say tiger, okay, I may say lion, okay, and so on. Like this list will be going on and on. Like we can make a big game also by writing different names of the animals. Now, what is species? Each or different kind of organism represent one species. That means here dog is considered as one species, cat is the another species, cow is the third species, tiger is the fourth one, and lion is the fifth one. What are these species? Each different kind of organism is considered as species. Each different kind of organism, one with the other. For example, if you take the plants, you have a rose plant, you have a mango tree, you have a neem tree, you have a banana tree. Each one of it is considered as one species. Did you get it? So this is what is meaning of species, and the current estimation right now, what we can estimate is there is approximately 10 to 100 million species are there. 10 to 100 million. Oh my God, that is a quite huge number. 10 to 100 million species are there. Did we find all the organisms? Did we know about all these species? No, we don't know. Out of this, only 1.4 million have been formally catalogued. We only know about 1.4 million organisms. We do not know about all the organisms. Did you get it? So can you imagine how many more species may be present on the earth which is yet to be discovered? It is not yet discovered. Imagine the richness of on Earth's surface. How many life forms can be possible on the Earth's surface? So approximately 10 to 100 million species are there. Out of that, only 1.4 million have been formally catalogued. That has been understood. Okay. Now, if I wanted to take an estimation that how many, let me see that how many plants are there, how many animals are there. This will include 1 million of animal species. This will include 1 million of animal species. You can understand, right? I hope you understand what is species. Species means if I talk about animal, each animal you name is one species. I'm not talking about how many dogs are there on the earth or how many monkeys are there on the earth. I'm not talking about that. I'm telling that each organism represents one species. And like that, how many are there? 1 million species are present. Only animals. Only animals are on 1 million. 2,48,000 higher plants are present. 2,48,000 higher plants different species of higher plants are there. 69,000 different species of funguses are there. 31,000 species of protozoas are present. 27,000 species of algae are present, and 5,000 bacteria are there. How many bacteria are there? 5,000 species of bacteria. Okay, these numbers are so huge, so big. See, imagine 1 million animal species, 2,48,000 plant species, 69,000 fungal species, 31,000 protozoa, 27,000 algae, 5,000 bacteria, and more than 1,000 viruses. Oh my God, these numbers are so crazy. So many. Okay, but that is what Earth is made up of, and that is what is called as species richness. That is why our Earth is so beautiful, because we stay all together on the same planet, share all the abiotic components together, and there must be a harmony. There must be a good relationship among all of these living things, so that we all can be flourishing on the Earth's surface. We are not supposed to omit any of the organism. Though due to some of our human bad activities or some of the need of human beings, we are actually destroying some of the animals. So there are some of the organisms which are facing the extinction due to the human activity. We humans has grown in number. That means human species itself has become more and more compared to so many other species. We are actually, and moreover, what I hope you will accept, you'll agree with me on this point, that we human need so many things, right? Our needs are enormous. Whereas in case of other animals, they doesn't need what the requirement what we have. We need a house, we need we need the furnitures, we need pen, paper, we need so many systems, things, so many things we need. But does an animal need all these things? Any animal, take your pet dog, cow, maybe the domestic animal cow or your pet dog. Does they need so many things? Does they need a furniture? Do they need the house to be constructed? No, they doesn't need all this. So why some of the species are being extinct from the Earth's surface? Because of human activities. Our greed towards getting something more and more, or I should say that our need, which is never ending, and because of that we keep on destroying things. We started destroying the forest areas, we started destroying the natural habitat of the organisms, and then because of that we got so many species which has become extinct from the Earth's surface. Few years back they have taken the project of saving the tigers, save tigers, save lions. All the wild animals also, can you imagine? The wild animals also are not spared from our activities. We are actually destroying those wild animals' habitat also. So though there are so many species, but because of human activities and also the natural calamities, these are the reason because of which some of the organisms are becoming extinct due to the human activities. Let us see what we have in the next slide. Okay. This is one of the very important part which we are going to discuss in this chapter. This first chapter of your 11th standard basically tells you about the important concept that is called as binomial nomenclature. What is this? What is this binomial nomenclature is all about? You should understand this concept very clearly at this level itself, because or else in the future you may find it very difficult to understand what is binomial nomenclature and what we are talking about, all these things. Okay, so what is binomial nomenclature? Now, before I tell you the definition of it, let me give you some introduction about binomial nomenclature and why it is required. Okay, in your family, for example, in your family you have so many people, or in your neighborhood you have 5-6 people who speaks in different languages. Let us think that. So now all of you wanted to communicate about one particular common thing. Okay, so in your neighborhood you have people who speaks different languages, and you all wanted to communicate about one particular thing. Maybe there are a lot of frogs which has started growing in your area because of too much of rain in that area, and all of this neighborhood people wanted to come together and speak about that particular problem.